Well, hello everyone, it's Jordan Howie here, and in this podcast, I will be talking about the negative consequences of putting ministry ahead of family. So we will begin with the first segment, which is false piety. The self-righteous practice of putting ministry ahead of family is a form of false piety. This is very wrong on so many levels, because it has the life priorities out of order. It is even worse if ministry is actually being worshipped, since idolatry is also wrong. When you're just fixing a minor mistake right there. For instance, I used to think that this form of false piety was called korban, but I recently found out that this form of false piety is not actually called that. This podcast will reveal the horrid consequences that those who practice this form of false piety will face. The final segment will have to do with the proper order of identity. Fortunately, most ministers with sound doctrine place family ahead of ministry, which is good. For example, if they planned on if he planned on doing something for the ministry, but then there was a family emergency that prevented it from happening at that time, then the minister would delay the thing for the ministry to another date. For example, if I planned something for the ministry to happen on February 1st, but then a family emergency occurred that day that was going to last for a day, then I would delay it to a different nearby date. The next segment, missed out on potential social moments. If you put ministry ahead of family, you will end up missing out on potential social moments, or opportunities to do something special with your family during what should be your spare time. Putting ministry ahead of family could lead to missing opportunities to do things like going on a social outing with your family, witnessing a special moment that takes place in your family, or a family picnic. Another consequence is that the minister who puts ministry ahead of family is not spending enough time with his family as a result of the false piety. Then when a family member dies, he would regret not spending enough time with that member, and this regret would be caused by the feigned piety. The third segment, wall between family. Putting ministry ahead of family could create a wall in between the minister and his family. This could lead to a dysfunctional family, where there's conflicts going on all the time. This could also create the facade where everything looks all cool in the minister's life, but a total mess behind the scenes. That is, since most of us only see the minister in ministry, while on the other hand, it is only his family who knows the behind the scenes, which is what he is like at home. This could make it hard for the minister to get along with his family, and the false piety can be a burden on the minister's family. No family deserves to have walls built in between each other, and that is no fun. The fourth segment, self-deception. The self-righteous practice of putting ministry ahead of family is very dangerous, especially since if a minister does this, he might think he's doing the Lord a favor, when in reality he is doing the Lord a massive disservice. If a minister does this form of feigned piety, then he would be a public success but a private failure, due to looking like he's doing an awesome job in ministry, but then at home he's doing a horrible job due to putting ministry ahead of family. If a minister puts ministry ahead of family, then he is a Pharisee. He is not doing ministry the right way. Or what the primary place of ministry is how he is like with his family. There is a saying that before he could be a hero to anyone else, he has to be a hero to his family first. The fifth segment: disqualifications from ministry. If a minister deliberately places ministry ahead of family, then in severe cases he could disqualify himself from ministry. In 1 Timothy 3:4-5 we read, "One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?" If a minister placed ministry ahead of family but didn't realize it, then he should repent of that, then place family ahead of ministry. But if a minister places ministry ahead of family, and he knows that he is doing it, and is adamant on doing it, then in severe cases he is disqualified from ministry. This means that at that degree, he would have to step down from ministry, repent, and then be restored to fellowship, where he sits under biblically sound preachers. The sixth segment: possibility of not being there. If a minister places ministry ahead of family, then there would end up being times when his family needs him, but then he's not there, due to something that he's doing for the ministry that he wasn't willing to delay. A minister should certainly be there for his family, whenever his family needs him, especially since ministers are held to a higher standard. 1 John 4:1 says, "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world." Since ministers are held to a higher standard, this means that the self-righteous practice of putting ministry ahead of family is one of the worst forms of feigned piety out there. This also means that heretics will face a greater condemnation if they do not repent. On the other hand, biblically sound preachers will receive greater rewards in heaven. In the final segment, proper order of identity. A minister should use the proper order of identity. Here is what the proper order of identity is. A minister is a child of God first, then, if a family man, is a husband and father, and then a minister. That is the proper order of identity, and it works. For example, if John Doe is a child of God first, then a husband and father, then a minister, then a coffee house owner, then he's got the proper order of identity. Then, when there comes the time when he gets too old to run the coffee shop, then passes the ownership down to his son, then he would still know who he is. That is it for this podcast. Have a nice day, and goodbye.